Hello, my dear friends, I'm Richmind, and today I'm going to share something with you that will completely change the way you see the world and yourself. As we discussed in the previous video about the matrix we live in, today we will understand how quantum physics is joining forces with spirituality to explain what traditional physics could not. Have you ever stopped to think that maybe everything we consider real is actually a product of our consciousness? Sounds crazy, doesn't it? But stay with me because I'm going to show you how science and spirituality are coming together to reveal surprising truths about the universe and our existence. You know that feeling that there's something greater connecting everything? Well, it's not just your imagination. Quantum physics is challenging everything we thought we knew about reality. Just imagine particles that can be in two places at once, effects that happen before their causes. Sounds like science fiction, doesn't it? But it's real, my friends, and what if I told you that you, yes you, have the power to influence reality with your consciousness? I'm not talking about superpowers, but something much deeper and more fascinating. The way we observe the world literally shapes what we see. It's as if the universe is a grand stage waiting for us to decide the script. But hold on, don't think I'm going to leave you with these crazy ideas without explanation. Throughout this video, we will dive deep into this new worldview that is uniting science and spirituality. I'll show you how great scientists and philosophers are rethinking concepts that seemed immutable. Perhaps you don't know, but I am also a physicist and began my studies in this field to try to understand the universe, particles and man, and the relationships that exist between them. I've always sought to understand the true meaning of life, and for that I believe it's necessary to comprehend various areas of knowledge, such as philosophy, physics, mathematics, chemistry, biology, and most importantly, spirituality. Only then can we expand our consciousness and live with purpose and happiness. Let's discover together why materialism, the idea that only what we can touch and see exists, is on its way out. We will explore a fascinating philosophy called Monistic Idealism, which proposes that everything, absolutely everything, arises from consciousness. And the best part, I'll show you how to apply these concepts in your practical life. Just imagine being able to better understand your thoughts, emotions, and even your connection with the universe. It's a journey of self-discovery and consciousness expansion like you've never experienced before. So, my dear, get ready for an incredible journey through the mysteries of the cosmos and the human mind. I promise that by the end of this video, you will never look at yourself or the world the same way again. Are you ready to have your mind expanded? Then let's go, because the universe is waiting to be rediscovered by you. Initially, let's understand a bit about the chasm that has formed between science and spirituality, and the bridge we are building to unite them once again. Have you ever stopped to think about why, for so long, science and spirituality seem to be on opposite sides? It's like they were water and oil, isn't it? On one side, we had scientists with their white lab coats, microscopes, and complex formulas. On the other, mystics with their meditative practices, transcendental experiences, and ancient teachings. It seemed impossible for these two worlds to meet. But, my friends, this separation is not natural. In fact, it is the result of a long historical process. Back in ancient Greece, science and philosophy walked hand in hand. The great thinkers were simultaneously scientists, philosophers, and mystics. Pythagoras, for example, besides being a brilliant mathematician, led a mystery school. So what happened? Well, over time, especially from the Renaissance and the Enlightenment onwards, science began to distance itself from spirituality. The scientific method, with its emphasis on observation, experimentation, and proof, seemed incompatible with the subjective and intuitive experiences of spirituality. This separation reached its peak in the 19th century with the rise of scientific materialism. Suddenly, everything that could not be measured or directly observed was considered unscientific. Consciousness, the soul, mystical experiences, all of this was relegated to the realm of superstition, or at best, philosophy. But here is the great twist. Science itself, in its relentless advancement, began to encounter phenomena that could not be explained by the materialist paradigm. Quantum physics, with its paradoxes and uncertainties, opened a breach in the wall that separated science and spirituality. And that's where our bridge comes in, my dear friends. We are living in a unique moment in history where the deepest insights of modern physics are converging with the eternal truths of spirituality. It is no longer a matter of choosing between reason and faith, between logic and intuition. We are discovering that these apparent oppositions are, in fact, complementary aspects of a much richer and more complex reality. This bridge we are building is not just theoretical, it has profound practical implications for our lives. Imagine being able to understand your thoughts and emotions not just as chemical reactions in the brain, but as manifestations of a universal consciousness. Imagine being able to approach healing and well-being in a way that integrates the best of modern medicine with ancient practices of energy healing. We are on the threshold of a new era of understanding, where science does not deny spirituality, but illuminates it with new perspectives. And spirituality, in turn, offers science profound insights into the nature of consciousness and reality. Let's explore this new territory together, where reason and intuition dance in harmony, where the microscope and meditation are equally valuable tools in the quest for truth. The chasm is being filled, and the bridge is leading us to a deeper and more unified understanding of the universe and ourselves. Now that we understand how this chasm between science and spirituality emerged, let's take a step back and look at classical physics and the philosophical legacy it left us. It's a fascinating story, my friends, and I promise it will change the way you see the world around you. Remember that moment in school when we learned about Isaac Newton and his laws of motion? That was revolutionary. Suddenly it seemed like we had unlocked the secrets of the universe. Everything could be explained through precise mathematical equations. It was as if the cosmos were a giant clockwork machine operating with perfection and predictability. This mechanistic view of the universe dominated scientific thought for centuries, and it wasn't just in physics. This idea spread to all areas of knowledge. We began to see everything, including ourselves, as complex machines. The human body, a series of biological gears, the mind, just the result of chemical reactions in the brain. But here's the crucial point. This mechanistic view of the world brought us incredible advancements. Think of all the technologies we have today, from smartphones to space travel. All of this is the result of this Newtonian understanding of the universe. However, this same view also left us with a complicated philosophical legacy. We began to believe that everything in the universe was determined, that free will was an illusion. After all, if everything follows predictable physical laws, how could we have real choices? Moreover, this materialistic perspective led us to a fragmented view of reality. We started to see the world as a collection of separate objects rather than an interconnected whole. And we human beings? We found ourselves increasingly isolated, separated from nature and from each other. But here's the twist, my friends. This mechanistic view, as useful as it was, began to show its limitations. Phenomena that didn't fit this model started to emerge. Consciousness, for example. How do you explain something so subjective and intangible using only physical laws? And then, in the early 20th century, a silent revolution began to take place in physics laboratories. Scientists started observing strange behaviors at the subatomic level that simply didn't make sense within the Newtonian paradigm. Just imagine, particles that can be in two places at once, effects that seem to travel faster than light, mere observation altering the outcome of an experiment. It was as if the universe were telling us, hey, there's much more mystery here than you imagine. This revolution in physics was not just a scientific shift, but a true philosophical revolution. Suddenly, all those certainties we had about the nature of reality began to unravel. The universe, which once seemed so predictable and mechanical, revealed itself to be much more mysterious and interconnected than we ever imagined. And this is where our journey truly begins. Because this new physics, quantum physics, not only challenged our notions about matter and energy, it opened the doors to a completely new understanding of consciousness, reality, and our place in the universe. Let's dive headfirst into this new quantum world, where the boundaries between observer and observed dissolve, and where consciousness takes a central role in the creation of reality. Just imagine a world where particles can be in two places at once, where merely observing an experiment changes its outcome, and where distant objects seem to communicate instantaneously. Sounds like something out of a movie, doesn't it? But that's exactly what quantum physics shows us. Let's start with the famous double-slit experiment. In it, scientists fire particles one at a time at a barrier with two slits. What happens? Well, if we were in the world of classical physics, we would expect to see two marks on the screen behind the barrier, right? But that's not what occurs. Instead, we see an interference pattern, as if the particle had passed through both slits at the same time. And that's just the beginning. Quantum physics introduces us to the principle of superposition, which states that a quantum system can exist in multiple states simultaneously. It's as if an object could be in several places at once until someone observes it. Speaking of observation, we come to another revolutionary concept, the role of the observer. In quantum physics, the act of observing a system alters its state. It's as if reality only defines itself when someone observes it. This raises profound questions about the nature of reality and the role of consciousness in its formation. But wait, there's more. How about quantum non-locality? Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. Imagine two particles that, once connected, remain linked no matter the distance between them. If you change the state of one, you instantly change the state of the other, even if they are on opposite sides of the universe. All of this leads us to a surprising conclusion: material realism, the idea that there is an objective reality out there independent of us, simply doesn't hold up anymore. Quantum physics shows us a universe much more fluid, interconnected, and, dare I say, conscious than we ever imagined. So what does this mean for us? Well, it means we need to completely rethink our relationship with the universe. We are not mere passive observers of an external reality. We are active participants in the creation of reality. Our choices, our observations, our consciousness all play a fundamental role in how the universe manifests. It's quite a paradigm shift, isn't it? But don't worry if this seems a bit much to absorb all at once. The beauty of quantum physics is that it invites us to question, to explore, to expand our understanding. Now that we understand a bit about this fascinating world of quantum physics, it's time to explore a philosophy that can help us better understand this new reality, monistic idealism. It sounds complicated, doesn't it? But I promise to explain it in a way that will make perfect sense to you. Just imagine, what if I told you that everything that exists, absolutely everything, is made of the same thing? And what if that thing was consciousness? That's exactly what monistic idealism proposes. Let's break it down. Idealism means that reality is fundamentally mental or spiritual, not material. Monistic means there is only one fundamental substance in the universe. Put them together, and we have the idea that everything that exists is, in essence, consciousness. Now I know what you're thinking, but rich mind, I see solid objects around me. How can they be made of consciousness? Great question. The answer lies in how consciousness manifests itself. Think of consciousness as an infinite ocean of possibilities. When we focus our attention, it's like creating waves in this ocean, manifesting specific experiences. The objects we see, the thoughts we have, the emotions we feel, all these are different waves in this ocean of consciousness. But why is this important? Well, monistic idealism resolves many of the paradoxes we see in quantum physics. Remember the double-slit experiment, where the particles seemed to pass through two places at once. In monistic idealism, this makes sense because the particle is not a solid object, but a manifestation of consciousness, which can exist in multiple states until observed. And what about the role of the observer in quantum physics? In monistic idealism, this is perfectly natural. If everything is consciousness, then of course our conscious observation affects reality. We are interacting with the same substance of which we are made. Now, I know this might seem too abstract, but think about the practical implications. If everything is consciousness, it means we are deeply connected with everything around us. We are not passive observers of the universe, but active participants in its creation. This also gives us a new perspective on ourselves. We are not just limited physical bodies, but expressions of a universal consciousness. Our minds are not confined to our brains, but are part of something much greater. Monistic idealism invites us to see the world in a completely new way. It challenges us to question our assumptions about reality and explore the role of consciousness in our lives. It's a fascinating journey of self-discovery and consciousness expansion. And remember, this is not just an abstract theory. It's something we can experience directly through meditation, contemplation, and mindful observation of our experiences. The more we explore this perspective, the more we perceive the profound interconnectedness of all things. So, what do you think? Ready to dive deeper into this new vision of reality? Believe me, the more we explore monistic idealism, the more fascinating and transformative it becomes. Now it's time to reflect on the profound implications this view has for our understanding of reality. First, consider this. If everything is consciousness, it means we are immersed in a living and conscious universe. We are not passive observers of a dead and mechanical world, but active participants in a dynamic and interconnected reality. Every thought, every action, every choice we make impacts the whole. This leads us to a completely new understanding of our responsibility. If our minds are connected to a universal consciousness, then we have the power to influence reality in ways we are just beginning to understand. Imagine the implications of this for areas like healing, creativity, and even solving global problems. Another fascinating aspect is how this view changes our understanding of time and space. In classical physics, time and space are absolute, but in the view of monistic idealism, they are creations of consciousness. This explains phenomena like quantum non-locality and opens up incredible possibilities for things like time travel and instant communication across great distances. And what about our understanding of death? If we are expressions of a universal consciousness, then the death of the physical body is not the end of our existence. It's just a transition to another state of consciousness. This not only removes the fear of death, but also gives us a completely new perspective on life. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but if everything is consciousness, why does the world seem so solid and real? The answer lies in the concept of wave function collapse from quantum physics. Our conscious observation collapses quantum possibilities into a specific reality. It's as if we are constantly dreaming the world into existence. This leads us to another fascinating implication: the power of conscious intention. If our observation shapes reality, then our intentions and beliefs have a direct impact on the world we experience. This is not just an abstract idea. There is scientific research suggesting that conscious intention can influence physical systems. Finally, this view offers us a new understanding of spirituality. It's no longer about believing in an external divine being, but recognizing our own divine nature as expressions of a universal consciousness. This leads us to a spirituality based on direct experience, not blind faith. My friends, these are just some of the profound implications of monistic idealism. As we explore this view, we discover a universe infinitely richer, more mysterious, and full of possibilities than we ever imagined. It's an invitation to expand our consciousness, to reconnect with the whole, and to embrace our role as co-creators of reality. I hope that throughout this video, I have been able to expand your horizons and awaken in you a new way of seeing the world and yourself. Remember when we started talking about the chasm between science and spirituality? Well, now we can see that this chasm is not real. Quantum physics and monistic idealism show us that science and spirituality are, in fact, two sides of the same coin: the quest to understand reality and our place in it. We explored how classical Newtonian physics shaped our worldview, but also how quantum physics revolutionized this perspective. We saw that reality is not as solid and objective as we thought, but rather fluid and deeply influenced by consciousness. Monistic idealism offered us a new lens to understand this quantum reality. The idea that everything is consciousness may seem strange at first, but it resolves many of the paradoxes of modern physics and offers us a unified view of the universe. The implications of this new understanding are truly transformative. We realize that we are not mere passive observers, but active co-creators of reality. Every thought, every intention, every choice we make has the power to shape the world around us. Now, I invite you to apply this knowledge in your lives. Start observing the world with new eyes, recognizing the deep interconnection of all things. Practice mindfulness in your thoughts and actions, knowing that every moment is an opportunity to co-create your reality. To continue this journey of expanding consciousness, I invite you to follow me on Instagram, where I post motivational messages and deep reflections. The link is in the description of this video. If this content was helpful to you and you wish to support the production of more videos, consider making a donation through Ko-fi. Any amount is welcome and will be very useful to cover the costs of creating more videos. The link is also in the description. Oh, and don't forget to download my free ebook, How to Unlock the Third Eye. It's a practical guide to help you live a fuller and more conscious life. The download link is just below. Please subscribe to the Richmind channel to receive notifications of upcoming videos. Share this video with friends and family who might benefit from these teachings. And be sure to comment below on what you thought and suggest topics for future videos. Finally, I invite you to explore other videos on the channel. In the cards and on the end screen, you will find recommendations for content that complements what we discussed today. Remember, you are much more than you think you are. You are a unique expression of a universal consciousness with the power to shape your reality. Use this power with wisdom and love. Until our next video,